my dear children. Today we are going to start with lesson number 5 from Vistas. The name of the lesson is Should Wizard Hit Mommy? Very important question is asked in the title itself, and this sort of question is called rhetorical question. My dear children, do you know what is a rhetorical question? Rhetorical questions are those questions where the answer is implied. The answer may either be in yes or in no. Means it is supposed that the reader will find out the answer just by using their analytical power or reasoning power. Therefore, in this particular lesson, a moral question is asked. The moral question is asked whether it is right or wrong. Therefore, we'll see the title, we'll see the summary, we'll see the explanation, we'll also see the MCQ questions and textual questions. And today in this part 1 of this lesson, we'll see the summary, we'll see the significance of the title, we'll also see the message of this lesson, and toward the end we'll see the MCQ, and in the next video we'll see the full description of the lesson. Now let us go. This particular lesson is written by John Updike. John Updike was an American writer. He was an American writer. So here you see the picture. So this is the picture of John Updike. Have you seen this picture earlier? His full name is John Hoyer Updike. John Hoyer Updike. John Hoyer Updike. He was born in March 18, 1932 and died in January 27, 2009. Was an American novelist, poet, short story writer, art critic and literary critic. So he had a lot of attributes or quality. He was at the same time a novelist, a poet, a short story writer, a critic, and also a critic of literary books. One of only 3 writers to win the Pulitzer Prize for fiction more than once. So he is one of the writers. He is one of the distinguished writers who got the Pulitzer Prize for his fiction more than one time. Updike published more than 20 novels, more than a dozen short stories, as well as poetry, art and literary criticism, children's book during his career. That means he touched almost all the genres of literature, starting from the children's book and ending with the literary criticism, which is the highest form of literature. So criticism, as you know, is criticizing a particular work to finding out the better quality or finding out the good quality and to suggest some of the ways by which it could have been made far better. So this particular form also is dealt by John Updike. Therefore, in this lesson written by John Updike, we'll come to know the world view of the children. My dear children, you see, world view of the children. World view. Now this world view of the child's world view and adult's world view. These are two view. Okay, we are talking about the view, and the view of the child toward the world, and the view of the adult is totally different. They live in two distinct worlds, two very clear and different worlds. So the world of the child is full of fantasy. Full of fantasy. Means they live into the world of fancy. They live into the world of fancy, fancy. Means world of imagination. World of imagination. Whereas the adults' world is very much a pragmatic world. Very much pragmatic. Means very much real world. They live in the real world, and what the children actually think, they have their own ego, and their ego seems to be hurt when their views are not respected, and the view of the adult is forced on them. And this particular lesson beautifully depicts the view of the child and view of the adult, and many times we see that this particular view gets collided. Therefore, in the end of the lesson, we find it that a moral question is asked, and the question is asked by the child in the name of Joe. She asked the question, and this question is the question raised by all the children of the world. Means it is a universal question. So Joe actually is a representative of all the children of the world. So here you see, we go here to the lesson now. Here we move. See in the lesson. Before you read, here is a story about the world view of the children. World view of the little child and the difficult moral questions she raises during the story session with her father. See this part. So some hint is given. So here we find the world view of the little child, which is somewhat different or is in contrast with the worldview of the adult, and a moral question is asked. Moral question is asked. An ethical question is asked, whether it is right in respect of the mother to beat the wizard. Therefore, it is better that we go to the title, and first we see the significance of the title. Let us see the significance of the title. So the title here is Should Wizard Eat Mommy? So the wizard means the magician. 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 What the magician do? They chant some rhymes, or what is called mantra, and just by chanting the mantra with the help of some magic wand, W-A and the magic wand. So there will be some kind of a magic wand, and with the help of this wand, what he will be doing? He will be chanting the mantra, and then some miracle will happen. Miracle will happen. Therefore, we will see that here the father had the habit. So every father has the habit of telling the story during the nap time. Nap means sleeping or taking rest during the daytime. So the father So the father tells the story. When the father tells the story to the child, what is the purpose? The purpose is to put the child to the bed. So the child is very innocent. So the child is very innocent, and the child begin to believe whatever is told, or whatever story is invented by the father to be true story. So initially, suppose that the child is asking question, some curious question, the question that comes to his or her mind, like pointing out toward the sky, the child will be asking the question, Father, where does God live? Then the father will be telling, God live in the sky. Then as he grows up, then his pattern of the question also changes. As he grows up, then he begins to ask, or she begins to ask some why question. Means his questions begins to be difficult, and the stories, particularly the fables, F-A-B-L-E, fable, means some stories which are having some moral towards the end. This sort of stories, when these stories are told in order to make the child or put the child to the bed, then it become very difficult to put the child into the bed when it grows up. So this particular title gives hint to the summary. This gives a hint to the main point, as well as the worldview of the child. So here you will see, so Jack is the father. Jack always tells the story to Joe, and this tradition started when she was only 2 years old. And Jack is always inventing story, and the story is always based on Skunk. Okay, sorry, this story is actually based on Roger. This story is based on Roger. So this Roger may be having a lot of varieties like Roger fish, Roger skunk, Roger squirrel, Roger chipmunk. All these are Rogers. Okay, there will be some little variation, and he will be inventing the story. Out of his mind, he will be telling the stories, and the child will be listening very intently. With the curiosity, she will be listening to the story, and then from time to time she will be asking some question, very important question, and the father will give the answer. But what happened when the child was growing up? It was difficult for the father to give the answer. Some of the critical questions that the child begin to ask the father, that bores the father, that actually makes the father disappointed. So the father is now in a moral dilemma as to what to do, what not to do, how to answer the question, because this is a very peculiar question. This is a moral issue that is raised. Therefore, all this hint is given through this title. Therefore, the title is very, very appropriate or apt. So, in fine, let us see how this title is very appropriate. So, this title Should Wizard Hit Mom. In this lesson, we see there is a wizard, and the wizard will give some solution to the Rosa skunk. Rosa skunk will always have some problem, and this time he had he had the problem, so he was a rose skunk, and the skunk is as usual, it is very bad smelling, and therefore he was suggested by the owl. Okay, owl was a very wise bird. It gave the suggestion that you should go to the wizard, and the wizard will find some ways so that your problem is solved. Then the skunk went to the wizard, and the wizard took his wand, and after taking this wand, what it did, he chanted the rhyme, chanted the mantra, and as it was wished by the skunk to smell like the roses, he finally, due to the effect of this chanting, it begin to fill or smell like the roses, and all the other animal in the forest also begin to give the company. The child was very happy. When it came back to the mother was very unhappy because according to the mother, a skunk should smell like skunk, not like roses. It should have the natural odor or smell. Therefore, the mother was very unhappy, and therefore instantly the mother went to the wizard in the company of rose skunk, and then called the wizard and hit him on the head. Hit him on the head. Now, this particular act of the mother was disliked by the daughter, by the skunk. Why? Because it is not the view of the child. It is the view of the adult. Therefore, in this lesson, the writer also gives the hint to the worldview of the child, his ego, his own world. All this is hinted by this particular title. Should wizard hit mommy just by asking a rhetorical question, whether it is right or wrong, just by raising a moral question, whether it is appropriate or right to beat the mommy or not. Therefore, let us go to the introduction now. We'll be going to the introduction. Let us see the introduction. Before you read, here is a story about the worldview of a little child. Worldview of the little child. And the difficult moral question she raises during the story session with the father. So, there is the worldview of the child and the moral question that the child raises during the story session. So, every child is very much fond of the story. Every child likes the story told by the father or grandfather, mother or grandmother. Particularly in the ancient time, the grandmother used to tell the stories while sleeping in the courtyard, and this tradition actually had a lot of contribution in the making up of the child. His worldview was also based or greatly impacted or affected by the story that is told during the childhood time. So let us see. The story revolves around Jack, who is a father to two kids, Johnny and Bobby. His wife Claire is carrying the third child. Jack had a habit of telling his daughter Jo a story every evening and on Saturday afternoon naps. So this is the regular habitual act. So what did the father did? So when will be coming little early in the evening time. In the evening time on Saturdays, he will tell the story, and usual days in the evening time he will be telling the stories to to the small children. The children were Johnny and Bobby. Therefore, now let us see. So the major characters here, major characters. How many characters are there? Four major characters. One, Jack. Jack is the father. Jack is the father. Number two is the mother. Mother is C-L-A-R-E. Claire is the mother. Number three. Who is the number three? Number three is Joe or Joanne. Joe or Joanne. Joe or Joanne is the heroine, means the protagonist. Protagonist means the major character, main character, dominating character. Joe. And last one, very passive one, very dormant one is Bobby. Bobby. Another child. So the mother Claire was expecting the third child, and that the father had the habit of telling the story to Joe, and this tradition actually started when Joe was only 2 years old, and now this tradition continued up to 2 years, means Joe is now 4 years old, and her critical faculties, analytical reasoning begins to develop. Therefore, it is the nap time. During the nap time, the father will be telling the story, and Johnny or Joe will listen to the story very intently or very closely, and from time to time, the father will be interrupted or stopped just by asking some very important, pertinent and relevant question. Let us see. This time, when he was telling her a story, she interrupts. She interrupts means stops him and asks him questions whenever she feels that things that were being told were not right. Now, my dear children, you will see the small children, when they grow up, their critical faculties developed, and the fairy tales or the fables that was told when he was a very small child, now it doesn't work. Because he begins to ask the question now, very logical question, very analytical question, very justified question. She begins to ask and begins to feel that, oh, it may not be right. It may be only right in the story, not in the practical field. So Jack now finds himself in a fix and doesn't know how to resolve those questions. Now, you see, this is the very difficult position, particularly very critical situation now. The father is in a fix. Father is in a dilemma. What to do, not to do. He is in the confusion. What to answer and how to answer. Parents feel that children should do or think exactly what they're told. Now, this is the view of the parent. So the parent actually feel that whatever the father or the mother, whatever the parents feel, the children should feel accordingly. My dear children, is it right? No, it is not right. The feeling, the perspective, the view, the world of the child is totally different from the adult. Therefore, he has the liberty, he has the freedom to to fly in his own world, and he should ask questions which are very much legal question, very pertinent question, very relevant questions. They should believe whatever they are told by their parents. This is the belief of the parents, worldview of the parents. They feel that they are experienced. The parents feel that they are very much experienced, and therefore whatever they feel and whatever they do, whatever they tell is correct, and the children are to obey them without asking any question or without raising any issue or questions. But is this the right attitude? Is this the right attitude? No. This moral question is raised by the story and left for the reader to decide what should be done. My dear children, you will see in the short stories, particularly in the short stories, what happened. Towards the end, you will see that the ending is somewhat very abrupt. A-B-R-U-P-T, abrupt. Means the ending is made all of a sudden without giving any clue. Okay. Therefore, you are in a fix. You feel that yes, if the ending is a little lengthened, it is made a little elaborate, then no harm would have been made. Therefore, Rabindranath Tagore rightly says about the characteristics of the short stories that shesh hoyeo holo na, means even though it is finished, it appeared that it is not finished, unfinished. Therefore, the question is asked towards the end of the story, and this is the moral question, and it is the duty of the reader to give the answer that is to be given. Therefore, now let us see the text. Now we will see the text now. First, we will see the first part of the story, and again we will be going to the summary of the lesson, and then we will go to the MCQ. In the evenings and for Saturday naps like today's, Jack told his daughter Jo a story out of his head. Now the time is evening time, so the story actually starts every day evening, including on Saturday, not Sunday, and time is during the nap time. And who tells the story? The father Jack tells the story. To whom it is told? To the daughter named Joannie, or Jo in short. Jo is the listener. Father is the speaker, and the listener is a very intelligent listener. She listens and asks questions. And this custom began when she was 2. Was itself now nearly 2 years old. And his head felt empty. Whose head felt empty? The head of the father. Means the father actually invented the story out of the mind. Okay, out of the mind she was finding the plot of the story. But now as she was growing up, she begins to feel that his inventive quality of the story is now becoming very less. Each new story was a slight variation of a basic tale. A Rosa creature, usually named Rosa. Now every day the story will be told, and the main hero of the story is Roger, and a little variation or the change in the basic tale or the story will be made. Sometime it will be Roger fish, sometime it will be Roger squirrel, sometime it will be Roger chipmunk. So Roger, who had some problem and went with it to the wise old. Now every time what happened, this Roger, who is the hero of the story told by the father, will always have some problem. When there is a problem, there will be some solution. So how it is to be solved? So you will have to go to the advisor or counselor. So who is the counselor? The old is the better counselor, because old is intelligent. It is old and therefore it is intelligent. Therefore, it was suggested that it is better to consult the old about the problem that Roger is suffering. Therefore, what the old will be telling? Old will be now suggesting, yes, now we go to the wizard, and the wizard will be doing what? Will be performing some magic spell, and then the problem will be solved. Let us see. The old told him to go to the wizard, and the wizard to perform a magic spell that solved the problem, demanding in payment a number of pennies greater than the number that Roger creature had. So every time when Roger went to the wizard, as you go to the doctor, when you are having some medical problem or the ailment or the disease, you are going to the doctor, you are consulting the doctor, you are giving the fee to the doctor. In the similar manner, Roger, he is having some problem, he is going and consulting to the wizard. Wizard is performing the magic spell, and the problem is solved, and after the solution, he will be demanding, always demanding the amount which will be bigger than usually Roger had. And then he'll be also be giving some direction that you'll be getting this amount there, okay, just beside the well, and there from there he will be bringing the money or the penny. It will be given to the wizard, and then his problem will be solved. His problem will be solved. So this is the usual line of the story. So let us continue. Let us continue. Jack had described the supper, and the story was over. The story was over. Jack had described their supper, and the story was over. Finally, Jack had described the supper, the dinner, and finally the story was over. Working his way through this scheme was especially fatiguing on Saturday, because Joe never fell asleep in naps anymore, and knowing this made the ride futile. Let us see these words. Futile means barren, barren, barren means fruitless. Fruitless means fruitless. Means it becomes unsuccessful. It becomes unsuccessful. Right means the ritual. R-I-T-U-A-L, ritual. Right means the ritual. Fatiguing means tiresome. T-I-R-E-S-O-M-E, tiresome. Now some changes are noticed. So what are the changes? So when Joe was very small, then the storyteller find it very much interesting to tell story because it was very much convincing that the small child begin to believe whatever the father told her. Now what happens? Some problem arise. The father now find it very difficult to persuade or make the child understand the veracity or the truth of the story, because the child now begin to ask some questions. Therefore, this particular rite or the ritual, this particular practice of telling the story to the child become somewhat unsuccessful or futile. So have you got it? So today the storyline will be little different. So that the father is now asked the question by the small child Joe, like, what will be the story today? Then the father told that today's story will be Roger, and today's story will be on Roger Skunk. 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 Skunk is a particular animal, my dear children, that lives in the forest of America. And this is a very badly smelled animal. Means its odor, O-D-O-U-R. Odor is very bad. Therefore, this is the problem. And because of this odor, what happened? The other companion or the mates, other fellows or the friend of Roger Skunk did not give him company while playing. Therefore, there is a great problem for Roger Skunk, and therefore it went to the owl gave the suggestion. According to the suggestion, he consulted the wizard. Wizard found some answer to the problem. The problem was solved, but it was not solved for the mother. Mother actually began to ask the question, because it is not natural. The smell that was changed from the bat or odor to like the flower rose was not natural for the skunk. Therefore, the mother was very unhappy, and the mother instantly went to the wizard to give him or teach him a beautiful lesson. And what was the lesson, my dear children? Lesson was beating or hitting hard on the head of the wizard. Let us see now this part in the form of the summary. Here we go. Before going to the summary, we will see the objective of the lesson. After learning this lesson, we will understand that this particular lesson actually gives the adult's perspective or the view of life, which is different from that of the child. That of the child means it tells about the view of the adult, as we have already discussed. It is the adult view that is projected, which is different from the view of the world, view of the world of the child. Rejection gives all the more pain to the handicapped. So here it may not be handicap, it may be for children. Rejection gives means when you are rejecting the view of the child, it gives a lot of disappointment in the mind of the children, because they have their own ego, and this ego is hurt when you are not supporting, when you are not endorsing, when you are not giving moral support to the view of the child. This actually results in disappointment. And just the opposite is true. When you are accepting their view, it actually inspires. Acceptance inspired and give them a normal life. When you are inspiring them, accepting their views, it actually give them lot of moral boost, and it also helps them to lead a very good and normal life. Therefore, let us continue. Let us continue. So first we will see the theme of the lesson. The story raises a moral issue whether parents should decide what the children do, or let the children to do what they like to do. So this is a very important moral issue or moral question. Moral issue. We have already discussed it. It also deals with the child's innocence represented by Joe, and adult's perspective represented by Jack. Joe is like most children who dream and live in their own magical world, one magical or fantastic world. They are far removed from the ugliness and petty differences. They are pure at heart. Jack invents stories, and the plot he creates, the storyline he creates, deals subconsciously with his own experience and complexities. That means, my dear children, when he was inventing the story or making the story out of his mind, actually it talks about his own experience, his own complexes, his own disappointment, his own feeling and experience actually colored this story. Well, while he was making the story, his particular experience of his life, his attitude and view, everything is beautifully expressed here. The story also deals with the theme that parents know what is best for the children, even though the children may not realize it. My dear children, this is also important. The story also deals with another theme. Another theme is that so the parents are adult and they understand what is the better for the children, and therefore many a time their view are also to be respected, so that the children can become successful in their life. Therefore, let us repeat these lines once again. The story also deals with the theme that parents know what is best for the children. As we have come to know, the mother of Rose's skunk said, it is not natural for Rose's skunk to smell like the roses. So the skunk is having its natural odor or smell, and it is suited for him. It is better for him, for his life and sustenance. Therefore, no other smell or fragrance suits him. Therefore, it is the father who can decide what is best for the children, even though the children many a time become unhappy, or many times they fail to realize or understand it. Both the themes are beautifully described or delineated in this lesson. Now let us see, my dear children, we will see the storyline. The summary of the story, let us see the summary of the story. So here we go. The story started with the daily routine that Jack had been following for 2 years with his daughter Jo, major character. His daughter was 2 years old when the tradition started, and today she is 4 years old. Therefore, the storytelling process started 2 years. And it started when she was 2 years. Now she is only 4 years old. The tradition was that Jack would tell Joe a story out of his mind every day in the evening before going to bed, and also on every Saturday after afternoon during her nap time. Now the issue was that it had been so long that he had been telling her stories that he did not have any good ideas for stories left with him. We could find that the fun of the storytelling, or the idea of the telling the stories, almost become exhausted or finished. He could not discover any more stories. Therefore, the same story with a little variation was told to Joe. Even Joe did not sleep during the story session anymore. For Joe also, the story actually could not convince her and persuade her to go to the bed. So every day when he used to tell her a story, the basic plot of the story used to be same, revolving around Roger, an animal who used to change every day. So sometime Roger's skunk, sometime Roger's squirrel, chipmunk, Roger's fish, like that. Roger used to have a problem and he would approach the wise owl for help, who would send him to the wizard. The wizard would solve Roger's problem but ask for more pennies than Roger had, and would also give him a solution to go and fetch the pennies from the specific place. Then Roger would go to that place, fetch the pennies, and would happily go back and play with the friends. Then let us continue. After playing happily with his friend, Roger would go back home before it gets dark to wait for her father, who would be on his way back from Boston. Then Jack would describe what all Roger and his family had for dinner, and then end the story. So the story always ended with the dinner or the supper of Roger. Now let us come to this particular specific Saturday nap time story. So what is it? Let us see. On this specific Saturday afternoon nap, Jack asked Joe that about which creature she want to hear a story. To which she replies, skunk. So Jack started story with a Rosa skunk. Rosa skunk, who was a very stinky animal, having very bad smell. The smell which was very bad smell. None of his friends liked to play with him. One day he went to the wise owl and shared his problem. The wise owl then told him to visit the wizard. Then the skunk went to the wizard and shared his problem. The wizard then helped him to solve his problem and asked him how he wanted to smell. To this, Rosa skunk replied that he wanted to smell like roses. With the wizard's magic, he started smelling like roses. Then he did not have enough pennies to play to pay to the wizard. So wizard told him to go to the magic well, turn around 3 times, and he would find 3 pence. Therefore, the problem every time you will be having some problem. Now, this time the main character of the hero is Roger Skunk. Skunk is the animal that actually had the bad odor, and he went to the world to solve the problem. And the world actually suggested him to go to the wizard. Wizard changed through this magic spell, changed the odor from better to the roses. And finally he was paid. The wizard was paid, and for this also he suggested that the wizard suggested how to pay, where to go. He'll be going to the magic well, and there he will take a 3 rounds, and then he will find 3 pennies there and give it to the wizard, and his problem will be over, because all the friends will give him company and play with him, and with a happy mood he will be going back to the house. Let us see now what follows. The skunk did exactly what was told and got the wizard his pennies. Later he went out, and all the other animals gathered around him as he was smelling very good. But when he went home, his mother did not like the smell and asked who had made his smell like her. That means the rose. Roses controlled the whole story to his mom, and his mother said that she liked his smell earlier, and he smelled the way a little skunk was supposed to smell. So then the skunk told his mom that the other animal ran away from him because of the foul smell that he possessed. But his mom said that she did not care. She took him right back to the wizard, and as soon as the wizard opened the door, she gave him one blow on his head with her umbrella, and the wizard changed the skunk smell, and his smell foul again. While going back to the skunk heard the train coming. His father was coming on the train. They had a dinner together. When the skunk was about to sleep, his mother came to him and told him that she loved skunk about skunk. He loved him the way he was, and there was no need to do change. The story ended there. Then Joe asked further whether the animal ran away from the skunk after that too, which he replied no. So the father replied, the question was asked by Joe about a rose skunk, whether the other animal ran away from the skunk after getting the original odor or the foul smell. Then the father told no. The father told no. All of them had now got used to the way. All of them had got now used to the way it smelled. Joe did not like the way skunk's mother forced him and made him smell foul again. So this is the perspective of the child, which is different from the perspective of the mother or father. She wanted that her father should tell her another story the next day, in which the wizard hit mommy back and refuses to change the skunk smell back. So this is the mind of the small child. So Joe was telling to the father that tomorrow we will be telling another story where the mother, that is the mom, will be hit hard on the head by the wizard. This is the urge, inner urge from the mind of the small girl. Then Jack told her that he would see, and the main point of the story was that the skunk loved his mother more than any other animal into the woods, and that mommy knew what was right for him. So this is another perspective that the children should realize whatever the parents feel, that is better for the children. That is also another threat of the theme. He then told her to sleep as her baby brother was also sleeping. Baby brother was also sleeping. Name was Bobby. He then closed the door and went downstairs. His wife was painting the chair rail. He heard some footsteps above and then scolded Joe. Now see, as the daughter was not convinced, the father was very much irritated or unhappy, and the father feel like beating the child because she was not persuaded or convinced, and she did not go to the bed and was asking question after question. This irritated the father. So in the downstairs we can hear the sound that is made by Claire, the wife of Jack, the mother of Joe, who is expecting the third child. Then he watched his wife do the painting and working, but was very tired to help her. Also, he thought that their marriage was not in a good state, and also that there was no solution to it. He also said that he did not feel like talking to her nor touching her. So this is in brief the storyline. Now we'll be going to the MCQ question. Let us see the MCQ questions. Here we go. The MCQ questions. Now let us see the questions. These are the questions. Very important question, and it is as part the new pattern of CBSE questions. So I'll be reading it out, and the answers are also there below. You can find out the answer. For that you need to go to the story. You will have to make the detailed study. You make the word meaning, write the word meaning, and develop your vocabulary too. So first question, let us see who is the author of the lesson. So we have seen the author of the lesson is John Updike. John Updike is the author of the lesson. A is correct. Then let us see what is the story about. The story is about means what is the theme that it talks about. What is the theme that it deals with? Worldview of a little girl and a curious question to her father. Worldview of the children. Worldview of wizard. Worldview of wizard. This is not the correct answer. This is not the correct answer. Worldview of the children is correct. Worldview of the children is correct. Worldview of little girl and her curious questions to her father means that this one is the more correct. Therefore, the question also is asked. Let us see the next question. Next question. Here we go. What did the wizard? How did the wizard help Rose skunk? In which manner? In which manner he was helped? By using the magic wand, by chanting, by helping him to get rid of the foul smell. Means all these methods were used in order to help. Therefore, the correct answer here will be number D. Next number, let us see question number 4. What did the wizard ask Roger? What did the wizard ask Roger? So what is the question that was asked? Means how he wanted to smell like. What did he want to have? What did he wanted to eat? What did he want to smell like? This is the correct answer. So let us see the last question now. We'll be going to the last question. You'll be finding the PDF file also. In the PDF file, you'll be seeing all the questions. So let us see the last question. Question number 39. Question number 39 we will see. What does a 4-year-old child symbolize in the story? This is a little uncommon question, and this sort of question you are to practice. What does a 4-year child symbolize? Means represent. What does a 4-year child represent? Innocent, smartness, obstinacy, none. What will be the answer? It is not the adamancy or obstinacy. So it is the innocence of the 4-year-old child. It is a kid only, and therefore it will not be talking about the smartness, obstinacy. It will be talking about the innocence. Then let us see the last one. What do adult people signify in the story? This also symbolic question. What do adult people signify in the story? It signifies the maturity and experience, wise word, cruelty, indifference. So it signifies the maturity and experience. So with this, my dear children, I suppose you understood the lesson beautifully, and you can go through the lesson, and in the next video we will see the detailed story in the part 2 of the same story. Till then, let us say or bid goodbye. Have a good day. Thanks to all.